Go ahead.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Taylor's Tech Talks. Tay's Tech Talks now. I am not Taylor. I am Michael, and I am going to be moderating this episode. And today, we are going to be interviewing Taylor, the creator of Tay's Tech Talks. So, hello, Taylor.
Hello, Michael.
All right. One quick thing, your pin did not work. I wonder if when I rejoined it changed that, but
Probably.
The goal here is to have Taylor front and center the whole time, so that the focus is on her and not me.
It says it's pinned, so.
Today we thought it would be cool for us to be able to interview Taylor about herself and to talk about everything that's not just tech related. So, and it's still showing me, I believe.
Yeah, but I pinned myself. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm even on the YouTube stream.
Oh, interesting, because I don't know I pinned myself.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Gotta love Zoom sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So we thought it would be important to interview Taylor about herself, and make sure you didn't pin me, by the way. About her likes and dislikes, and so we hope we have some folks in the chat. So that we can talk about all these things, and for chat to ask questions as well. I will be moderating chat, so and things like that. So yeah, it's interesting. It still has my name up there in the video. So. The good thing is the latency's good.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is, I wonder if I pin you, if it will do it, but I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yes.
Nope, that did not work. Zoom is just being strange, and I wonder if there's a way where we could do it. It's very strange. Maybe if you switch to gallery view, which is, I think, it's in the menus under meeting. That might at least, help out.
Is that better?
Let me look at the video.
You know what? I was gonna say I probably should record this, but we kind of already started. So.
Yeah, it's fine. It will be recorded.
Yeah, it'll just take a day to process. That's all.
That is much better.
Much better?
I think.
Okay.
I think. We're about to see. Yeah, it's showing you now. So that's good.
All right.
So, all right, let's do this thing. So, we we have chat going. So if you're in chat, feel free to say hi and ask Taylor any questions that you have. The goal for this is to have an open-ended forum of questions for Taylor that are not necessarily tech or anything specific to technology or the channel, so that we can talk about more of what get Taylor's likes, dislikes, and just give some more information behind the YouTuber, because Taylor is awesome and has done some great work in all different spaces. So I guess since we haven't had any chats, Taylor, why don't you talk about, what got you interested in YouTube? Like, beyond just the technology, what is it about YouTube that got you interested?
Yeah, so what got me interested in YouTube is I really want to be able to help people, right? With tutorials and just kind of like helping people to, be better and to grow and to learn. And so I really got interested in YouTube because it was a way for me to express myself and be creative and also help people at the same time. So it's all about helping and creating and learning, and just kind of having a place where people can be able to, learn from me, but I can also express myself as well.
Cool. And what about, is it fun or is it more work?
It's really fun. Producing videos, like I said, it can be a little bit of work at some points, right? Trying to figure out the edits, trying to, learn editing software. But honestly, it's really fun. I can be able to be creative and I can be able to express myself and I can be able to teach the world what I know. So it can be work, right? Trying to deal with crazy people in chat who may be trying to do crazy things. But it can also be really fun as well, knowing that I'm making a real difference.
Yep, and the I just want to acknowledge we do have folks in chat, so if you do have questions, please send them our way. I am monitoring, so just send any question to Taylor, and and Taylor will let us know if something is off limits, or if I think it's off limits as a moderator, I will just not ask it.
Okay.
How's that sound?
That sounds great.
Okay. So yeah, chat. Send us your questions. I'm sure we would all love to. I will ask the question for Taylor, and she can answer. So, but I have a bunch of questions that I have lined up for Taylor, and that's tell us your story. Like, we know you're a blind YouTuber, you're a developer. And so kind of paint the picture. Like, how did you get into development? How did you get into computers when you were young? And what got you motivated, and what drives you to keep doing what you do as a business owner and YouTuber?
Yeah, that's a great question. So basically, I grew up in small town Michigan. I'm not going to really say where, but it's in small town, rural America. And if anybody knows, growing up in a rural part of the country or rural part of anything means that resources can be scarce at times, and the quality of either education, infrastructure, all those things is a little bit interesting for blind people at the latest, at the easiest to say, and just kind of the nicest words possible. So resulting from that, I had a childhood where I had to basically kind of fight. I had to advocate for myself at a very young age of middle school. And I had to advocate for myself for accessibility, because obviously it wasn't going to get handed to me. I had to stand up for myself and be like, I need this stuff so that I can be able to be successful, because I knew that if I didn't, nobody would. And so I stood up for myself as a child, and I got what I needed, whether it was software, whether it was different accommodations, or whether it was technology products. I made sure that I got it. And, like I said, it was crazy because, for example, that part of rural, Michigan or America, there's not a lot of transportation either. And so that can be a little bit difficult as well. So I knew that I needed to do, something. And I knew a couple friends that were developers that I knew from Michigan, and when I was 14, we would literally just sit on FaceTime, and I would learn things from them. And then it kind of got to the point where I would a little bit know more than they would, because I would just be like, I'm so motivated to figure this stuff out, because I knew that it could help me to be able to make a better life for myself, but not only to make a better life for myself, but to be able to help others and to be able to tell the world, like, look, even if you're growing up in a very rural or, very crazy circumstances, you can still make a life for yourself and you can still problem solve so that you can be successful. And so I got into computers and stuff because I knew that that would be a great way to help myself out, in life. But I also had friends and stuff, and I went to different events and stuff during the summer, like camps and things. But I knew that I had to make a better life for myself, and in order to do that, I needed to learn some skills like development and others so that I could be able to make that life that I wanted to live and be an independent person. Now, in terms of the problem solving, right, because sometimes I wouldn't get software that would work or that would be accessible, and so I'd literally have to come up with my own solutions for things. And so that's where programming also was very helpful, is that I was able to come up with my own solution to problems that I would face in the classroom, for example. And so those are kind of some of the ways that I got into that.
We got an interesting question from a new chatter to the channel of somebody that goes by Sam's World.
Okay.
And they ask, do you have a hearing disability and does it affect you?
No, I do not have a hearing disability, and so it really does not affect me.
Okay, excellent. But you did mention that you're blind.
I did.
And I already know this, but I want to put this out there to the chat. What is your blindness? Was it from birth?
Yes.
And what can you and what can't you see? And how does it affect your life? What are some coping skills that you use for that?
Okay, so I can see lights, colors, and some shadows. And basically, I can see that, for example, if I'm in a room of people, I can see that there are people in that room. I can't see what they look like. I can just see that there's outlines of things or people, right? So I can't really see details of their face. I can maybe see what color shirt they're wearing, but I maybe can't see the details of their face. I can see shadows, so if I'm following someone, for example, like in a restaurant or a mall, I can be able to follow them because I can kind of see their shadows. I can see bright colors, so again, if I'm trying to look for something or whatever and I'm trying to see a color, I can see colors, so my color vision isn't really affected. But I really can't read print, and I rely on all non-visual mechanisms for reading, writing, and tech. And coping skills, really, honestly, like I said, I know that I have to do things differently, right? Because I want to find alternative techniques so that I can still be successful. And really, like I said, I use a screen reader for technology, right? I have some Braille as well. But in terms of coping techniques, I don't really know exactly what you would kind of mean by those. But yeah, those are kind of some of the limitations of my vision.
Okay, we have another question, this one from Doug Oliver.
All right.
And he asks, when did you get your first apartment? How did you get your independent living skills and things like that?
Okay, so I got my first apartment when I turned 18. So, y'all may be thinking, what the world? Yeah, I know. It's probably crazy. So the reason I got my first apartment at 18 is, again, it came down to the small town school system. And basically, it was determined that I would need to do what's called dual enrollment. So if anybody isn't familiar with that, basically it's what you do is you take high school classes, but you also take college classes. So you basically dual enroll at a community college where you can get high school and college credit at the same time. However, we had one slight issue. Well, what was that issue? It's called transportation. The reason was, again, remember, rural America, rural Michigan, and where do you think the closest community college was? About 30 miles away. Well, what's the problem with that? Well, there's no city buses, there's no trains, there's no anything. And the problem with that is that I can't drive, obviously, because I'm blind, and that would just be, frankly, really dangerous because we don't have self-driving cars yet. So what is that going to mean? Well, unfortunately, that meant that I needed to get a driver. And the problem is that I was working with the state vocational rehabilitation, which luckily was very awesome. They really helped me out. So super happy, if you're watching from Michigan VR, it was really awesome. And the Bureau at that time, which is still the Bureau, really helped me out. They're like, hey, I think you need to move to Kalamazoo, which is the city I'm in now. And I think what you need to do is get an apartment, and so that way you can be able to go to the community college, because it was going to cost more to get a driver than it would to pay rent for the community college. I'm sorry, to pay rent for the apartment to live to go to the community college, aka a lot of money to be able to get a driver, drive back and forth, and so on and so forth. So I got an apartment when I was 18. Where did I get my independent living skills? Again, the answer to that question is the Michigan Bureau of Services for Blind Persons Training Center. So it's a center residential in Kalamazoo. It's almost like Chris Cole if you're in Texas. And basically what it is it's, residential center. There's different programs throughout the summer. And so during the summers, here's what I would do, y'all. I would literally go right after school ends. I would go to the center, get my training. I wouldn't come home till like a week or two before school started in August. I'd be gone the whole summer, and I'd be doing training. I'd be learning everything I can from the instructors. I'd be getting all the knowledge that I can from the instructors. I would be working as hard as I can to get my independent living skills up, because I knew that during the school year it would be a lot harder to practice those skills. And so I knew that I needed to be able to get those skills up. And so I decided to go to the Independent Living Center, the Bureau, aka, and I would literally spend as much time as I could and as much as my counselor would give me in training. And I was able to get all my skills up, and I'm able to live on my own successfully using their, training that I got from the rehab center.
Excellent. So we haven't had any new chat messages yet, so keep them coming, folks. Great questions so far.
Yes.
I want to put out there that make sure that you do not leave and stay to the end, because for one thing, this is an interesting chat. I think we may need to do more of these. These are, I think they're pretty informative, and because it lets you interact with your audience, and even in the future people will be able to leave comments as long as YouTube lets us do that.
And YouTube will not turn my comments off, because I will not let them.
Yeah, and so I think that's going to be pretty important to have these regularly.
Okay.
Or at least once a month. I think that would be a good thing. Don't you think?
I think so too. We even have a playlist too now.
Yep, we can do that. So why don't you? Well, I'll just say people don't want to leave, because Taylor has some awesome announcements at the end of the Q&A today, and I know that she is really excited to share those. But
yeah, y'all don't want to miss it, because you may be very confused when you see the videos coming out in the future. So you might just want to stick around so that you understand what's happening.
Yes. And so back to the questions.
Okay.
We got a new one. Sam's World asks, how necessary do you feel as a blind person it is to know Braille?
Oh, this is a very, very, very highly debated question in the blindness community. All right, y'all? Remember, because there's some organizations, I'm not going to name names here, because this is not how this is going to go. But there are some pro-Braille and some, you just need to know Braille organizations. So here's what I'd say. Braille is a really awesome tool if you're able to learn it, effectively. And if you don't have neuropathy, which is what I struggled through also in my childhood from a viral infection that was borderline arthritis and nonsense like that. That was crazy. And so obviously I have my full feeling back and I can read Braille. But what I would say is it depends on what you want to do, right? It can be helpful for coding. Although I do my coding through speech. It can be helpful for like reading notes and stuff, or doing any of that stuff, having a Braille display. I do have a Braille display. I don't really use it all that often, but like I said, I think that knowing Braille could be a really useful skill, and I think that if you're able to learn it, I say I would. But if you're in a position where that's not feasible for you, I say that you can still get by with speech only. So I'd say it kind of depends on your circumstances.
I feel like that could almost be a whole video on its own, just a discussion of, is Braille necessary? And, that it's very interesting because there's so many different viewpoints on it.
Oh, yes.
I personally learned I learned Braille when I was 2.
I did
Started
too,
learning my name.
yes, when I was like 5.
And so, when you learn it early, it helps. But, each person's different. But
Yep.
it's interesting hearing your take on it.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't want to say one way or other because I know it's a very highly controversial thing. But what I would say is it depends on what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. I still have a Perkins in the top of my closet.
Oh, yeah, no, my Perkins didn't make it past my last apartment move.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it kind of fell apart.
Oh, man. Was it plastic or metal?
Plastic.
That's why.
Uh-huh.
All right. So we haven't gotten any more questions in chat.
Okay.
But, here we go. So, Sam's World, do you have a guide dog or would you ever get one?
I do not have a guide dog, and I don't really think I would. And the reason is I don't really think my lifestyle is conducive to having a guide dog. For one thing, I got to go through, a lot of training, and I got to go to schools, and then it's just a lot of back and forth. But I also don't think that, I have really good cane skills. And I think that if the cane serves you well, I don't really see a need, in my lifestyle, right? You have to keep in mind, it's my lifestyle, and yours is probably going to be really different than mine. But me being a tech enthusiast, I travel a lot, but at the same time, I really don't think a guide dog would really benefit me in any ways. I like dogs, but I'm also allergic to cats, but that doesn't really, play in here. But the point is that I really just don't think at this time I'm really interested. But I really think, though, in my lifestyle, that it's really not a thing that, would be conducive just because I may be in conferences or I may be going here and going there and just kind of all over the place. And I just don't think that my lifestyle and what I do would be really conducive, to a guide dog and trying to, do all that stuff. But again, I'm a very good cane user as well. I can get around just fine.
Payone asks, good old Payone.
Oh, yeah.
Good to see you back. What is the best part about being blind?
The best part about being blind really is all the opportunities that I get. Because if I was sighted, I probably wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing right now. Who knows? I probably wouldn't be able to have my own business, right? That probably wouldn't have been a thing. I might have just been working some retail job. Not saying that's bad. But I'm just saying that the opportunities that I'm able to get being blind, I think are really the best part about being blind.
All right. So, if you had to pick your favorite things in tech, like your favorite devices that you've gotten to see or own or experience, what's at the top of your list of what's the most awesome things out there?
I'm just going to say my M1 Mac that I bought, with my own business funds was definitely on the top of that list, right? I was able to buy it from my own business bank account from money that I earned without any help from anyone. I'm just saying, that's really awesome that my business was able to help me upgrade my equipment. But, like I said, the M1 Mac is definitely the best device I've ever had by far. In terms of other stuff, I don't really know. I like all tech, so trying to answer that question is just, I don't know. I really love all tech, so it's kind of hard to say. But I'd for sure say the M1 Mac is, the best device by far that I've had.
All right, it's time. Payone said it's time for him to be him and ask the question, what is your favorite breakfast food?
Favorite breakfast food, probably, I don't know, I like to just have some, egg sandwiches, because, again, they're easy, right? Something about me is that I like convenient, I like automation, right? And so if I can kind of do it quick, so I can do other things, so I usually like some breakfast sandwiches or some, egg and cheese and sausage and that kind of thing.
So let me expand the question. If you're at a hotel and you're traveling or you're doing something at a conference and the cooking and the automation and all that was not an issue, what would be the first thing you would go to and get on the menu? If
I don't
omelets,
know. Maybe
pancakes,
waffles
all
or
that
pancakes
stuff.
or anything that I don't get myself. Anything that I don't make at home, I would just grab.
Okay. Interesting. What's your favorite type of pizza?
Pepperoni.
Interesting.
Yep.
Just pepperoni. Interesting.
Yep. In fact,
Okay.
I ordered one today.
Nice. Through
Domino's. But saying that, we were gonna try to get one. My family was gonna try to get me some food, right? Because my my meal thing that I have, basically, where it's really awesome meals, very healthy and very like pre-cooked and whatever. They never actually showed up this week, so my family was gonna try to get me a Little Caesars pizza when I was after I was spending time with them. Well, nothing was open because apparently no one wants to work around here. So none of the Little Caesars were open. Luckily, Domino's was open, so I could just get a pizza. But yeah, nobody wants to work around here. Everything is closed. So
I was gonna say pizza.
Or not.
That's a Little Caesars thing.
Yeah, or not, because none of them were open.
Yeah, or not. Yeah, and Doug was saying, I believe that guide dog's not for him. Do we have? We haven't gotten any other things in chat, but I know we've talked about this in the past. But what about music? Is there anything that you like as far as music?
Honestly, I really like whatever is playing. I don't really have any preferences, right? I just kind of listen to whatever. I'm literally fans of anything, and there's nothing I really dislike. It's just kind of whatever's playing, right? I've got a lot of musician friends in a lot of different genres, and so I've kind of been able to expand my horizon, just kind of like whatever's playing and whatever, Gone to all sorts of things. But yeah, that's what happens when you have a lot of musician friends.
So. Yeah, and and have you been exposed to a lot of music as growing up, or is that kind of a recent thing?
Really, I've been exposed to a lot of music when I moved here in Kalamazoo.
Ah, okay. And music, figuring out your favorite music tastes are, can take time.
Yeah, but honestly, I really like everything, just because I've been exposed to pretty much a lot of stuff.
Right. Payon asks, do you have a non-tech related hobby?
I mean, not really. I mean, maybe swimming when I can do it, when it's not freezing cold in Michigan. But other than that, that's kind of my really only non-tech related hobby.
Swimming counts. I would definitely say swimming counts.
Okay.
As a non-tech related hobby.
And obviously, going out and hanging out with friends. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Traveling.
Do you? I love that new Gmail sound. Do you collect anything? Is there anything that you like to collect?
No, I'm not really a collector. Just haven't really been appealed to it, and I don't know. I'm not really a collector.
Interesting. What is let's see. When you watch YouTube or you go online and watch videos, what kind of stuff is your favorite to watch?
Tech stuff.
I bet I have an idea, but yeah.
Tech stuff, programming stuff. Honestly, YouTube's algorithm is so smart, and it literally recommends stuff that I want to watch. So, tech, programming, that kind of thing. Self-improvement, business stuff, all those things.
Okay. What
Even
about
YouTube, learning YouTube stuff as well.
Yeah. What about books? Are you a reader?
Not really. I've started to kind of, read some stuff, but I'm really not a reader. I mean, most of the time I just fall asleep if I'm, reading something. I'm like, my mind's not really doing anything right. If I'm watching YouTube, I'm kind of, engaging with stuff. But if I'm just reading something and I'm not really, interacting, if it's a code book, that's different because I have to, learn the code and interact with it. But if it's just a regular book for pleasure and I'm bored, I will literally just fall asleep.
Sam's World has asked, what do you think about specialized devices for blind people? I'm not exactly sure what that's referring to, but I'm guessing has to do with special, I would think the and he was asking, and we have a question after this one, so okay. I guess the Victor Reader Stream or specialized devices that are not mainstream. That's I guess how I would take it.
Okay, so I do have a Victor Stream. Here's the thing. I've had so many issues with them that I kind of just stopped liking them. I loved them when I was in rehab, right, at the Michigan, training center. But honestly, I've had so many issues with them. Let's see, what have I had? I've had media errors. I've had SD card failures with a Victor Stream. I've had, Jesus, just too many issues. And then it's like I gotta go ship it to Canada, and then, oh my gosh, it's just a nightmare. So, honestly, I don't know. I'm really trying to mainstream everything because honestly, it's a lot easier and it's a lot easier to get fixed, and it doesn't take me down because I have to rely on this assistive device that I don't have, and then I'm kind of stuck without it for a week or a month because it has to go repaired somewhere else. And so I'm really mainstreaming everything. You know, I listen to stuff on my phone or, you know, my computer, but everything I have is pretty much mainstream at this point.
Okay, and the next question we have is, this goes back to talking about reading books and falling asleep. Payon asks, do you fall asleep with sound in the background or completely silent?
Sound.
So, when you say sound, like, I guess, can you expand on that, or?
I don't know, either YouTube or maybe a book or, you know, just something I want to listen to before I go to bed. Podcast.
My favorite is the thunderstorm sounds you can get on the
Or
Echo.
those.
That is amazing, by the way. If folks haven't heard of that, check that out. I just wanted to throw that in there. And let me go. Let me reread the last few chats. Sam's World would like to ask, how tall are you?
5'6".
Okay. Doug Oliver, when did you actually learn to code and how to program?
I started learning when I was 14.
What language did you start with? I'll just throw that out there. C Sharp. Wow.
Well, that's what my friends were doing, so that's what I started off with. Yep.
Payon asks, do you generally like people?
I love people, Payon. If I didn't like people, I wouldn't be doing this YouTube channel. I love people. I mean, I live alone, but I talk to people all the time. So, yes.
Yeah, how many Discord servers are you on? A lot.
And how many YouTube channels do I subscribe to now? You know, a lot. And again, if you want to see all my subscriptions, hey, that's another way you can get to know what I like. Look at my YouTube subscriptions. I make those very public.
Mm-hmm.
And also my liked videos. I think they're all public. Because that's another way you can kind of get to know what I like.
So Sam's World asks, what podcasts do you listen to?
Oh, boy. Well, what I'll just say mostly Sam's World is that I mostly listen to YouTube. I mean, I have a podcatcher. But the ones that I really listen to, obviously Michael, the DM series, Demasi and Michael, Talking Tech, obviously is one of them. But, you know, honestly, I try to get all my podcast stuff on YouTube because I'm already on the YouTube app a lot, right? So I try to listen to everything on YouTube. Again, I have a podcatcher, but, you know, I mean, let's see, DM series, there's a couple like WordPress ones, but honestly, I've been getting those more on YouTube. And so really the only one that I'm really going to my podcatcher for is Demasi and Michael's. Which if you should check out, Payon runs that one.
Yep, it's a great podcast. Do you have a favorite color?
I like anything that's bright. That way I can see it. So like maybe reds or oranges or anything that I can see, you know, anything that's bright.
Okay. Do we have any? You guys keep firing off the messages in chat.
Are you able to keep up, Michael?
Huh?
Are you able to keep up?
Yep, I am. We're ahead of the game right now, so it's really awesome. So let me ask you this question: what do you think about this so far, Taylor? Are you enjoying doing this?
Yeah, I am. Because I want you guys to be able to be happy as well and to know who I am, right? Because I create these videos for y'all, but I also want you to know kind of who I am and what I do, and so that you guys can more relate to what I do. And again, feel free to check out my YouTube subscriptions, right? Because I subscribe to a lot of channels, and I subscribe with my Today's Tech Talks creator name, so that way you guys can see what I subscribe to, and hopefully that those will be things that I think that you will like, right?
And Payon says that he guesses they will have to put the podcast on YouTube at some point.
Payon, if you do that, I will be extremely happy with you. So I would love you to do that. And if you want help with that, feel free to ask me and we can work something out. Because honestly, I love YouTube. Again, I like podcatchers, but again, I also like YouTube because now I don't have to just look at the videos, right? A lot of the times, especially with YouTube Premium, I could just have these videos going and I don't even look at the screen and I just kind of listen to it like a podcast, right?
Yep, that YouTube Premium is great. And this is not an ad for YouTube Premium, but it's
no, because I'm not sponsored by Google or YouTube.
Although they'll love to put their ads on your channel, even if you're not,
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, here's another question from me. When you go out somewhere, or when you leave the apartment, what kind of places do you like to go to hang out? Or
I like to go hang out with friends, like to the mall or just different places. I like to go around town, hang out with people. Maybe, we go to restaurants or we go, just those kind of places. Just kind of hanging out with friends, no matter, where they want to go. Just going all over town.
I'll ask one more question and then I'll ask a question from Payon. But if you are going out by yourself, you just want to get out of the house, what kind of places do you like to go to?
Maybe, like I said, I'll go to a restaurant myself, just depends. Or maybe I'll go to the makerspace on campus, basically, where we have like a bunch of people. We can go there and hang out. Basically, it's a whole bunch of people, just different tech and equipment and stuff. So I like to go there, or maybe I'll go, like I said, to a restaurant, or I'll go, somewhere that I enjoy.
Payon asks, do you use Braille screen input on your iPhone?
I try to, but I'm never very good at it. And it usually makes me calibrate every 5 to 10 seconds. So, no, because I'm not very good at it.
Sounds like the Braille Note Touch Plus.
I know.
You take your fingers all of that, calibrate.
Yep.
So, Sam's World asks, how do you decide your fashion style? Do you wear makeup or do your hair?
I do not wear makeup. And what was the other part of that question?
How, like, your fashion, like...
partially it's decided by YouTube.
Really?
Well, I'm just saying, remember, I used to wear my hair up all the time. Remember that. Now I wear it down because it makes YouTube happier, and I think it looks better, and it just, so it's kind of partially by YouTube. But I don't really wear makeup because I just don't really feel like it's needed, and I don't know. I have natural beauty, and I feel like I would take away from it.
And as far as clothes, I think it would actually be beneficial for folks that are not blind that watch your channel. How do you, I know this is a question that blind people get all the time, but how do you figure out your wardrobe? How do you figure out what goes with what, or what you should wear with what, or make those type of decisions, or figure out which colors you want to wear on a certain day?
I mean, I've got those way around tags. For clothes that will sew into them, and I can kind of be able to see what's in the shirts and, be able to figure that out that way and kind of match the colors and then, try to figure out what goes with what. Michael, do you want to explain what that is since you work for them now?
Sure, I can, but why don't you explain it, because it's your use case. I could explain what the product is,
okay,
but you have the use case.
So basically, what it is it's like a labeling system, right? So it's like Pen Friend or any of those. But what this does is it allow you to sew, these tags into the clothing, and so I can just scan my phone or a Waylink, it's called. It's like a device that you can scan the NFC tags, and it would tell me, like the color of the shirt and different things about it, or and that way I can know, okay, this goes with what, this. And the other thing is that I can be able to see colors a little bit as well, which helps. So it's basically a labeling system. And they've got all sorts of tags. I've got them all over the place. I've got them in my office. In fact, I think I have some over here somewhere in my office. I think I got some on this counter. I have a whole bucket of way tags, for stickers and metal tags and things that, I have them on my business paperwork. I just have them all over the place. So way around and way tags are awesome, y'all. And again, I'm not sponsored by them either, but you should definitely go check some out.
So I've got one quick question I want to ask to go along with that, and then I will ask Payon's next question. Do you know how to sew? Because you mentioned about sewing the labels
Well,
into clothes.
so I don't, but typically what happened is like either, one of my family members did it. I'm trying to learn, but I haven't really learned yet how to sew. But that's something I'm going to eventually learn how to do.
Payon also asks, what is your favorite movie?
I really don't have one, Pound. I don't know. I'm not really a movie watcher. Again, for the same reason books, right? Especially with movies. If I don't find it interesting or it's boring or even, if I'm bored, I will just fall asleep. So I really don't have a favorite movie, to be honest. Because I really don't find a lot of enjoyment in watching them either.
Yeah, you seem to be the type of person, and correct me if I'm wrong, you seem to be the type of person, if you're going to listen to a book, like if you're going to get interest out of it, you have to be doing something else while doing that. Like I know for me, I can be cleaning or,
Yep.
doing something around the house, and then I can listen to a book without falling asleep. But if I'm just sitting there listening to a book, I'm going to be out.
Yep.
So, all right. Do we have any other questions in the chat? Or, I will push this back on. I'll ask this question, but I have a feeling we already know the answer because of the last answer. Sam's World asks if you have a favorite scary movie, but
No.
Yeah. So, any other questions in the excuse me, in the chat? And it's interesting because we're coming up on about 40 minutes, and it's awesome that we've had 40 minutes of content already that of question and answer, and I think this has already been a lot of information that you would normally get from Taylor on her videos, and so
And let me know in the chat if y'all want. I'm gonna pose you a question to chat real quick. Have you guys noticed the chapters in my videos? How do you guys like those? The timestamps? Would it be helpful for this to be repurposed so that you guys can be able to jump to different questions? There's a question for y'all while we're waiting for others. I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Mm-hmm. All right, I have another one for you.
Okay.
What is your? Well, this one's from me. What is your favorite method of travel? Do you like to fly, trains, or just road trips, or what's your favorite?
Fly, because it's again, it's not like I want to like rush through it, right? But it's the quickest. I can get to my destination. I can have more fun, right? I like to fly. It's enjoyable. Although sometimes dealing with security and airport assistance is not. But in terms of flying, it's really enjoyable.
If you could visit any country in the world, what would it be?
I have no idea. I don't know.
You have no idea? None of them other than here sound
No,
that
well, I
interesting?
mean, every like if I could, everything sounds good. Everything that's not like dangerous or like I could just go all over the world. I could just do a world tour.
Would you take a cruise, or are you not that big of a fan of the ocean?
I've really never taken a cruise before, so I really can't give that, because I really haven't taken one before.
What about just boats or fishing or things like that?
I mean, like I said, my family has a boat, so we definitely go tubing and we go, do that kind of thing as well. So yeah, I like the boats.
Cool. Amusement parks. Do you like roller coasters?
Yes.
So you like all kinds of stuff like that?
Oh yeah. If it's fast, I probably like it.
That's awesome. Let's see. Hot weather or cold weather? This is an interesting question because, you're from Michigan. And so, different people from different parts of the country always have a different answer to this.
Yeah, and Michigan, for those who don't know, it's a very cold state, right? It's, winters are brutal. Summers are nice, but it's, definitely cooler. I would say I really don't like snow. I mean, I can deal with it, right? But I'm really starting to get to the point where I'm kind of irritated with it. So I'd say a little bit warmer, but obviously, like, not like too warm. But I'd say, a little bit warmer where it's not snowing. I'd be happy. So I'd say more warmer weather.
Ooh, that's a great question, Sam's World. What do you think is the biggest issue facing the blind world today?
Oh boy. Well, let's see. I guess the biggest issue that I see is, let's see. I got to think about how to say this without sounding either political or negative. But here's what I'll say. I'm just going to just say it flat right. The biggest issue is having blind people to be able to work without getting penalized for doing so, and losing some health insurance that they may rely on for, if they have other external conditions that they wouldn't be able to afford it, like with the other health insurance, like, for example, like Medicaid. Again, I don't know what it's like in all different parts of the world, but what I would say is the biggest issue, at least for us here, is obviously, finding a job, but more importantly, when you get a job, making sure that you can still keep your good health coverage so that you can afford your very expensive medications if you have some, like I do, and like Michael does, and that you won't get penalized, for being able to put in income, right? That you won't be penalized for being able to make a better life for yourself. That there would be a little bit of safety net, right? Yeah, you don't need as much money, right? But you should still be able to keep that insurance. And so I think the biggest issue facing the blind is our social systems and also the employment and that kind of situation.
Okay, good answer. And I totally agree with that. There's a lot of other issues,
There are.
but that is really, I think we kind of answered that one earlier, Payon, but I'll put it out there again because it's slightly phrased differently, but probably the same answer. Payon asked if you could travel anywhere, where would it be to?
Again, same answer. Like if I could just do a whole tour, like a world tour.
Mm-hmm.
Same answer.
Let's see. So here's an interesting question. I'm actually genuinely curious what your answer is to this one. What technology is out there that you find absolutely ridiculous and pointless for anybody to use, whether it be blindness related or mainstream?
There's so much tech. I'm just trying to figure out which one is the most ridiculous of them all. Jesus, I don't even. Nothing really comes to mind, but obviously there's so much stuff, right? But it's just like, jeez. I don't even know, because like there's so much bad stuff, but just I don't even know where to even begin to process it all. Right? I don't know. It's kind of a hard question. I really don't have an answer at the moment.
Or, okay, let me narrow it down. What product have you looked at or have you seen any announcements for lately that you would just tell people, don't bother, this is not worth your time? What device do you feel like that would be that just you're like...
Jeez, I can't really think of anything. I mean, I don't really know, Michael. I'm kind of lost for words. I mean, like, I love tech, so there's really nothing that I think is ridiculous, right? I don't know. Maybe like a note taker running outdated Android?
Oh, interesting question. Payon asks, would you do rock climbing?
Yeah. If I had the facilities or the, yeah, I would give it a try.
What about skydiving?
Sure.
Wow.
I'm adventurous, y'all.
Wow. I actually did not know that. Okay, let's keep going in the same vein here. Bungee jumping.
Sure. Again, anything with speed, adventure, I'll do it.
Wow. I'm too chicken.
Well, I would make you do it.
Actually, one of the things I think would be kind of fun is they have indoor skydiving, where basically they send you up in a big wind tunnel and you kind of float in the air, which is kind of neat.
Huh.
They have a few of those here in Austin. Um, okay. So, any other chat messages? I think we may take messages for another 5 minutes, and then we will start wrapping it up.
Yep.
Did we ask what is we asked about your favorite breakfast food and pizza, but what is your favorite overall food? Like if you had to pick something, like what is your favorite thing to eat?
I don't know. Again, anything that tastes good. Like I don't know. I don't really say I have a favorite food, right? But anything that tastes good, you know.
Okay, favorite sweets.
All of them. I mean, oh my God. You know, Reese's peanut butter cups and cake and all those things. Oh my God. Chocolate. Yeah. Ice cream, all that stuff is awesome.
Okay. Sam's World asks, why do you think so many websites today are inaccessible? Great question.
All right, y'all. So, why do we think they're inaccessible? Well, you're probably not going to like the answer that I'm going to say, but I'm just going to say it, right? Because, again, something else about me is that I'm very honest. I want to state the facts because I want everyone, I don't want to sugarcoat things. I want them to be clear and I want them to be simple. The reason most websites are not accessible is because a lot of the developers who make these websites are not trained in the mechanisms that are used to actually make the websites accessible. And I have proof of this. So what do I mean? Well, a lot of developers are just trained to make websites, but they're not trained about the accessibility practices until later on or even too late to even fix the things. So I think a lot of websites are made inaccessible because our training programs that help train these developers are failing to address that they need to actually cover accessibility so that all the developers can make all websites accessible for all abilities or disabilities. And if we don't have the proper training in place, then we're never going to have accessible websites. Obviously, there's a lot more factors, but 9 out of 10 developers I talk to, even the developers that I go to the campus with, right, at Western's computer science program, they don't learn about accessibility till the last semester, right? So that's a lot of the problem is developers who don't have a clue about accessibility until it's too late.
Awesome. Good answer, I think.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if people don't look at these things at accessibility first, it's not going to be a focal point for them until, I need to make this accessible.
Yep, or I'm going to be sued if I don't.
Another question from Payon, and it actually has another question I'll add to that. He asked, do you play goal ball?
I've tried, and honestly, I am very bad. In fact, I don't really line up all that well. In fact, I was so bad at one point that my body moves, right, but kind of, with all the other things that I have going on with my body, it kind of, I don't want to say it sticks in one place, it kind of does, but I can't line up to the ball, and so I usually go way over the line, and so I go into other people's, territory, so I'm not very good at it, but I have played it.
And is there any other sports that you like or play and like to play?
The only thing I really do for that is swimming. I like to swim. I was on a competitive swim team when I was in high school. Not my own schools, of course, because I didn't have a pool, but a neighboring school.
What about bowling? What are your thoughts on bowling?
I like bowling as well. I did some of that as well. There's also a bowling league in Kalamazoo. Obviously got shut down when COVID hit, but I'm pretty good at it.
See, I like bowling, but they have shut down a lot of the bowling alleys here in Austin since COVID, so there was one right near my house and they closed it down.
Can you see enough to actually see the pins?
Yes, barely. Usually, I could see the white of the pins.
Well, maybe we'll have to go when we're in Austin.
Yeah, usually I roll the ball down there and all right, let's see what happens.
But can you see how many you scored?
No, I have to go look at the computer to see. I can usually read the computer screen.
That's what I'm, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I could do that, but that's about it.
Okay.
Like I'll roll the ball and like, all right, I heard some noise of pins falling. So yeah. All right. It is about that time. Do we have any last minute questions you guys want to sneak in here before we wrap this thing up?
Yep, or else we're going to wrap it up. So.
You've got 1 minute.
Yep.
Any last questions? This has been a lot of fun.
It has.
And that's my Apple Watch saying it's 5 o'clock Central. So
it's 5 o'clock.
Let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. Hang on. Most important.
What?
From Payon. Can you guess what it is?
What am I having for dinner?
Nope. He asked, "Do you like tacos?"
Yes, Payon. I had some last night.
There you go.
10 Central.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were hungry.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, tacos are good. How can you not like tacos? Well, awesome. So we promised you guys a bit of a few announcements when we wrapped up. So Taylor, why don't you go ahead and share those announcements with the channel?
All right, folks. So as you probably noticed, the channel name has changed to Tay's Tech Talks. Now, I put out a tweet on this, and I also put out a poll, and y'all's responses were pretty overwhelmingly awesome, and you wanted that to happen. But for those who may be new to the channel, let me explain. The channel was before Taylor's Tech Talks, which was good, my full name, which is fine. But a lot of people, believe it or not, call me Tay. It's kind of a personal, a lot of people in my family are close friends or whatever. And so I want this channel to be personable. Obviously, I provide a lot of educational content, but I also want it to be personable. And so I thought it would be a great idea to name it Tay's Tech Talks, and so that would also match with the Facebook and Twitter and all the things. So that is the first announcement. The next announcement is Taylor's Teardowns. They were previously live streams, but I've gotten a lot of feedback from my audience that they would rather have them in video form. So what I've decided to do is make those video form. They'll still come out the same time and the same date. Mondays at 8 or 7. Central 8 Eastern. But they will not be live. And the reason is because I'm going to be tearing down a lot of complicated products coming up. I've got one tomorrow about vidIQ, which is a keyword research and YouTube awesome tool. It's so awesome. YouTube helper. And I honestly think that would be served in a video format. However, I'm still going to be going live. I'm hoping to do some kind of Q&A, either like this or just a general Q&A about any of the videos that I've uploaded that week at least once a week. Instead of doing a teardown, I will do that live, the Q&A, and we'll still have Tutorial Tuesday. So that is what we're going to be doing in terms of the announcements. How does everyone feel about that? And we're also doing Final Cut Fridays as well. So.
Yeah, talk about that.
So I got featured on the #1 Final Cut Pro website for the whole internet on this blog. And basically they were highlighting how I showed, accessibility, right, Final Cut, and how I was able to do it as a blind person, right? Because that's how I edit my videos is Final Cut Pro. But I was requested to do Final Cut Fridays. So as a result, we're going to be doing Final Cut Fridays every Friday, starting last week, and it's going to be going until I don't have any more things to say about Final Cut. And it's going to document my whole journey. Because I'm still learning Final Cut myself, but as I learn more, you guys are going to learn more. And so it's kind of my documenting my process.
So there's one last thing that I think you should mention before we end today. And that is to talk about the overwhelming awesomeness of your WordPress course and where you are as far as seats for that. So I think you have some exciting news about that.
Yeah, so folks, the WordPress course we launched 2 weeks ago, not even. We have 2 spots left out of 8. So if you want to learn WordPress and you want to be able to take your skills to the next level, I would go to courses.tayloraccess.com immediately if you want to register, because we only have 2 spots left. And when those spots are gone, I'm sorry, but your luck has ran out. So it'll be a 10-week course. It'll be at 6 Central, 7 Eastern, starting Tuesday, October 5th, for 10 weeks from 6 to 8 or 7 to 9. And you will be able to learn all the fundamentals, and by the end of the course, you will have a full website that you can have built, that will be your portfolio, or maybe you want to build a site for a company. But either way, by the whole end of that course, you will be ready to have a website that you can show off to the world. So what I would recommend is, if you're interested, go to courses.tayloraccess.com immediately and get your spot before they're gone, because they're not going to be here much longer.
Yep. All right, folks, that's going to do it. I want to thank everybody that we've had in chat.
Yep. I do too.
And, I think it's been a great Q&A session. And so, let's let Taylor have the last words here. And I'll ask one last question to end us out. And that is, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on everything that people have asked you? Have they gone over the line, or
Nope.
has everything been good? What are your thoughts about the general Q&A?
I think it was great. Nobody went over the line, and I think it was civil, and I think it also was able to get the viewers to have more of an idea about who I am as a person.
All right. Well, I think that will do it. Do you have anything you want to say before we end?
Well, the only thing that I would say is, if you are interested in supporting the Tay's Tech Talks YouTube and podcast and all that stuff, you can go to, it's still Taylor's Tech Talks, but it will be redirected to taystechtalks.com, and there's a tip jar, and you can actually be able to give, donations to help the channel. As well as you would be able to be in a Discord if you donate on a recurring basis. You could just donate as much as you want, monthly or whatever. But as well as comment, share, subscribe, share this with your friends if you feel like they'd be interested. And ring that notification bell to make sure that you get the latest content. We've got a lot coming, and I'm sure you don't want to miss it.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for being here. And I guess we'll see you next time.
Yep. See you guys all later.